Hi there, I'm Ethel MacArthur and I'm a certified life coach. I was certified through Brooke Castillo's Life Coach School. I am coaching people primarily who are over 60 years of age and who want to discover and set their life goals and to express their creativity. My motto is it's never too late to create, and so I coach people for sessions, and I offer a free initial session. So please avail yourself of that and we can meet and greet. So today's topic is the urge jar. And this is a behavioral modification strategy developed by Brooke, and she was based it on Pavlovian principles, the reward, the desire, the reward, desire, reward. And that pathway becomes very well worn in our brains. And so in response to emotions that we experience in our body, we might be feeling exhausted, stressed, anxious, all kinds of emotions that are triggering us to go to food, social media, drugs, alcohol, gambling, porn, and any other or one or more of those. And so what we do in those instances when we experience those emotions, we just automatically, unconsciously go for any one of these or multiple. So what we're going to work on today is we're going to choose one focus only because our brains like to distract and become overwhelmed, so we're just going to focus on one goal. And the one that I'm going to talk about today is in relation to food. This is one strategy that I've used in my journey, and I have lost over 50 pounds. So it's just one of those. It's really a quick start to hacking into your brain to change your behavior, to modify your behavior. And so join me on this journey. We're going to go first to just looking at our human brain. And in terms of development, our primal part of our brain is our ancient, automatic sort of go-to part of our brain that functions first. It is seeks pleasure and avoids pain and seeks pleasure, and that's the primary motivation. And it's described as the toddler brain, that brain that we see in a child or in ourselves. You know that if a child sees a chocolate bar or something they really, really want, they will just extremely act out, express their behavior, lie on the floor, and we have that within us. And if we take that child and we resist what they're experiencing, we tell them that they can't and that, don't you know, and we do that to ourselves as well. And we know that that isn't effective. But if we make sure that child is safe and allow that child their moment of expression, it will pass. It will pass. It will seem a long time, but it will pass. And so we use those same strategies out of our prefrontal lobe, our latest part of our brain to develop. And the prefrontal lobe is really that layer over the primitive brain. And it's the adult brain. It seeks growth and evolution, and it is the planner, the critical thinker, the researcher. So what we're going to do is use the planning part of that prefrontal lobe today to change our behaviors. So what we're going to do is talk about a 6-step solution to primal urge management. And so those urges do come out of just repetitive behaviors. And so we want to rework those neural pathways, and we can do that through rewarding our brain with the urge jar beads that are pretty and that will just give us that satisfaction and replacement of that negative source of coping. So the first phase is the pre-planning phase, and so what we want to do is write down exactly what we will eat tomorrow on paper. So I want that, I would write it in my book in detail and be very precise, and it can be what you normally eat, but just we're not going to change any of what you eat right now, but just working on keeping a commitment to yourself. So you're going to plan what you're going to eat 24 hours ahead of time, because as I said, you want to activate that prefrontal cortex of your brain to plan and manage your eating. So we want to do that 24 hours ahead of time. So once you've got that down on paper and you come to the next day, you want your prefrontal lobe to execute the plan. And so it's not something that we have to, we have it written so we can see it and do it, as opposed to that primitive brain that will just be in the moment and eat anything in sight. So eat only and exactly what you have planned. Anything outside of that, you want to note in your planner, but what we're going to do is work on staying with what we have planned the day before, with that part of our brain that knows really what is our highest good, what will be the outcome, produce the outcome that we desire or we want. So we're going to go on to allowing the urge, and anytime that you feel an urge to eat anything you haven't written down in those moments of stress, overwhelm, confusion, then what you want to do is practice allowing the urge to pass through. So you might get that sensation in, I know what would solve this problem, I deserve, I'm going to go get. You say, oh, this is what I have planned. And when that urge comes, we just want to breathe into it, recognize it, witness it, be with it, and allow it to pass off. Much like we do the temper tantrum of the child, we just allow it. And the urge might last just a flash, or it might last 3 minutes, but what we're going to practice is maybe upwards on 10 minutes. If we have an urge that just does not pass, and we might respond to it in that moment, we'll know that. And what we can do, one way that I use, is that, oh, that isn't on what I planned today, but I can put it on the plan for tomorrow. I can put that cupcake on the plan for tomorrow. And so we can then allow that urge, because the toddler knows it's going to come at a later date. So allowing the urge to pass through and on. And the more we work these neural pathways, lie down these new neural pathways, the more firmly it will become a part of our behavioral pattern. So it's reward time. And how do I reward those allowed urges? I have a jar here that, so you could use any receptacle, you could use any reward system. Don't recommend money as a reward. I've got pretty beads that were given to me, and some people will use sea glass, pretty shells, stones, whatever. And so what I do when I allow an urge to pass through me, and I can give myself a reward now, and I drop one of these beautiful beads. The brain that taught, oh, isn't that pretty? And did you hear that sound? And did you feel that nice coolness of that glass? And it just it does give you a little reward. Not like the chocolate bar would give you, that one's temporary. This one we can see, because when we allow another urge, we're going to put another bead in. And we can see 2, 3. And it's actually very rewarding and delightful. It's pretty simple, but it really works. And so what you want to do is make sure that your jar is visible most of the time. I keep mine in the kitchen so that I can, oh yeah, there it is. I allowed 4. And then what we do is, I have 100 beads in this little bag, and so each time I would give myself a reward. And there are 100 beads in this jar, and so letting them all, so by the time I reach this, it's even more beautiful than the single 1 or 2, and it just gives that accumulation. The brain loves an accumulation of the reward. It loves to accomplish. I actually 100 times was able to allow, and it gets easier and easier and easier, I guarantee, from personal experience, to allow those urges to pass through. And it might not take 100 times to change a behavior. I've had behaviors that I've changed in maybe 16 times, 25 times, something like social media I've used, and it's required less than with my over-sugaring. And then the brain loves to go into action, and gradually, and the habit will be replaced with being able to allow those feelings to pass. So, and with coaching, and that's why we coach, it's to apply the principles and to explore the thoughts that are under those feelings that will have you go to substances and behaviors that do not best suit your highest level of being, and then give you the results that you don't want in your life. So what we do on step 5 is track the weight, which I always put in here. And just another brain hack is I only put 2 figures. So say today I was 19, and so instead of the 3 figures that I would normally put up there, I put 2 figures, and it just is another little strategy to kind of just hack into your brain to change the pattern. It shifts the brain's attention away from the usual. And so you want to track your weight and track any foods that are off plan, because you want to remain accountable to you, because it's you that you're doing this for. It's you that you want to give that sense of satisfaction to you. You want to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself, and know that you can. It builds in that self-confidence. I can do it. I will do it. I am looking forward to achieving my goal. So what you do in step 6 is repeat steps 2 to 5 until the jar is filled with 100 of these beautiful beads that the brain just, you've earned every bead at this point. And so it deconditions your brain, and it's because you didn't overeat 100 times, you'll see that weight loss. And so Brooke Castillo estimates that this jar of 100 beads is the equivalent of 10 to 20 pounds lost. And so that certainly was a part of my story. And I invite you to take up the challenge of using the Urge Jar to set your goal and to change your brain pattern so that you are managing the primitive brain, and so that you are becoming more into the adult. It's estimated in my readings that 90% of our function comes from that primal brain versus the prefrontal. So I encourage you, let's all develop that prefrontal lobe capacity, and let us continue to grow and evolve over our entire lifespan. So I can be contacted at phase3lifecoach.com, and I'd love you to join my website. I post weekly on there, and I would love to meet up with you and just see what your goals are, and work with you on those. And so I have a free introductory session, so please email me and at phase3lifecoach.com, and I will set up an appointment with you, and then we can see how that fit goes. So I challenge you to use your urge jar in whatever way you will, and please do write me, because I've had people write and they've used things in ways that I'd never dreamed of and have put into effect. So please do write me. I'd love to hear how it's worked for you. And so that's it for today. The urge jar, and just that little brain hack that we all need. So bye for now.